Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing the pre-release analysis for Argenti coming in the second half of patch 1.5 of HonkaI Star Rail. I'll be going over his entire kit, talking about what's good about him, how you would like to build him, what kind of characters you would like to pair with him, and much more. Now before I start with the video, I just wanted to disclose that some of the information in this video are considered leaks, so if you don't want to follow leaks, then I recommend not watching this video, but if you don't mind leaks, then I recommend taking everything I talk about in this video as subject to change, because considering he hasn't officially released yet, there is a possibility that he might receive some changes here and there before he officially releases, so definitely keep that in mind. Now let's get right into it, starting with his basic attack called Fleeting Fragrance. Deals physical damage equal to 100% of Argenti's attack to a single enemy, a generic basic attack. Moving on to his skill called Justice Hereby Blooms, deals physical damage equal to 120% of Argenti's attack to all enemies, kinda similar to his basic attack. So it isn't really all that good, because the main thing about his kit comes in the terms of the damage that his ultimate deals, which I will go into now. His ultimate for In This Garden Supreme Beauty Bestows consumes 90 energy and deals physical damage equal to 160% of Argenti's attack to all enemies. Now this is pretty good. It deals damage to all enemies instead of being an ultimate where it deals massive damage to a single target and to some to the enemies adjacent to it. Now the reason why his ultimate is very interesting is because this isn't the only attack that his ultimate deals, because he has another version of his ultimate that deals even more damage but consumes even more energy. And that ultimate is called Merets Bestowed in My Garden. Consumes 180 energy, which is double of the original ult, and deals physical damage equal to 280% of Argenti's attack to all enemies, and further deals damage for 6 extra times, with each time dealing physical damage equal to 95% of Argenti's attack to a random enemy. Now this is actually really good, because not only does 280% actually really good damage, but again, it's not the typical attack where a lot of the other DPS characters have, where it deals massive damage to a single target and some of that damage to adjacent enemies to it, where this deals the full amount of damage to all enemies plus some extra damage to random enemies. Now with this being the case for his kid, so what this basically means is that he is initially designed to do a massive amount of his damage from one singular attack. Instead of spreading that damage from between his ultimate skill and potentially a follow-up attack, they decided to put all of his damage into his enhanced ultimate. Now that could be seen as a bad thing, considering that you have to rely on getting a lot of energy to deal this attack. However, if you were to give him the proper supports that gives him good buffs and also good relic sets, I think it's fine that they put a lot of his damage output into his enhanced ultimate, which I will discuss later in the video. Another thing on why I think this is fine that they did this, because of the built-in buffs that they gave him, where some of that comes from his talent, which I will go into now, called Sublime Object. Every enemy hit when Argenti uses his base attack, skill, or ultimate regenerates Argenti's energy by 3 and grants him a stack of Ascent, increasing his crit rate by 2.5%. This effect can stack up to 10 times total, which is a maximum of 25% crit rate, which is very nice. This is a good way to build even more crit damage for him, to basically deal as much damage on his enhanced ultimate. Moving on to his technique Manifesto of Purest Virtue. Enemies in a set area are inflicted with daze for 10 seconds. Enemies in daze will not actively attack the team. When attacking a dazed enemy to enter combat, deals physical damage to all enemies equal to 80% of Argenti's attack and regenerates his energy by 15. Now this is a pretty good technique, deals physical damage and also regenerates his energy by 15, but obviously the main use is that to prevent enemies from attacking you when trying to attack them to enter a battle. Moving on to his traces. His first trace buff, called PD, at the start of a turn immediately gains 1 stack of Ascend. A pretty good buff, gives you an easy way to build up more stacks of Ascend. His second buff, Courage, deals 15% more damage to enemies whose HP percent is 50% or less. Now this is also very good because it gives you even more damage for his ultimate. And his third one, called Generosity. When enemy targets enter battle, immediately regenerates 2 energy for himself. A nice way to regen energy, but not really a massive one. And the stats that he gains from his traces are HP, attack, and physical damage. Kinda nice, gives him attack and also physical damage. Moving on to his add-ons, in case you are interested in pulling multiple copies of Argenti. His first one, each stack of Ascent additionally increases crit damage by 4%. Now this is a very good add-on, because consider the amount of stacks that you can get for Ascent is 10 and you get 4% crit damage per stack, then the amount of crit damage that you can get is 40% total, which is very very good. So no doubt his first add-on is definitely going to be a good one to get. His Z2, if the number of enemies on the field equals to 3 or more when using the ultimate, attack increases by 40% for 1 turn. Another nice add-on for increases his enhanced ultimate damage with 40% attack, but again I don't really think it's that massive considering the amount of buffs that you can get from not only his kit and also supports. His Z4, at the start of the battle, gains 2 stacks of Ascent and increases the maximum stack limit of the talent's effect by 2. So instead of the Ascent stack limit being at 10, it is now increased by 2, which means for the buff he gets at E1, he can now get 48% crit damage and 30% crit rate. I would say a nice add-on, but I don't think it's a massive one to get. And finally, E6, when using ultimate, ignores 30% of the enemy's target defense. Now this is a pretty good add-on, even though you can get some defense shred if you were to use Pellet with him, but nonetheless, considering that this ignores 30% of the target's defense, is still a pretty damn good add-on. But if I were to say his add-ons are pretty standard, I would say. Even though his E6 is very nice, I would say if you were to go for multiple copies but don't really want to go for that much, I would say stop at E1 because 40% crit damage is very nice to have, and the other ones are just good ones if you were to go for more. Moving on to his 5-star Light Cone. Increases the wearer's crit damage by 36% when the wearer uses ultimate, increases the wearer's ultimate damage based on their max energy. Each point of energy increases the ultimate damage by 0.36% per point of energy up to 180 energy, which is the maximum energy that Argenty can do. Even though I think the Light Cone used to be better before because the buff here used to be the damage increase for all of his attacks instead of just his ultimate, where now they switched it to just his ultimate. Would have been nice for his skill attack, but nonetheless this is still a pretty damn good Light Cone for his ultimate damage, especially for his enhanced ultimate. So for the maximum damage that you can increase his ultimate is for a total of 64.8% damage. Not only do you get 36% crit damage, but you also get the damage increase for his enhanced ultimate. So no doubt this will be a very good Light Cone to use on Argenty. But what about the other Light Cones that you can use on him? In terms of other Light Cones, I would say the only one that's really good is Today is Another Peaceful Day, which is the Battle Pass Light Cone. It increases his damage based on his energy. Another one I would say is both Serious of Breakfast because it increases his damage and also gives him attack for defeated enemies, and also Make the World Claimer because it regenerates his energy and also increases his ultimate damage. Moving on to his relic choices. So for the 4-piece set, you definitely want to give him Champion of Straight White Boxing because the 2-piece increases his physical damage and the 4-piece gives him extra attack whenever he attacks or is hit by an enemy. And now in terms of the 2-piece set, it's actually pretty interesting. There's only 2 options depending on like what you would like to farm for. If you prefer increasing his crit rate and just giving him a nice damage bonus, then Salsoda would definitely be a good option because it increases his crit rate by 8% and also gives him ultimate damage by 15%. But if you like to increase his damage overall and are willing to go for good speed substats, then no doubt the Infernal Frontline Glama, which is the new 2-piece set coming in World 8 of Simulated Universe, where it increases his attack by 12% and when the wearer's speed is equal to or higher than 135 to 160. Now obviously it depends on like how you like farming relics, and don't mind farming for the new set, which comes out right when 1.5 starts and he comes out in the second half of the patch. Then yeah, I would definitely recommend farming for the new 2-piece set, but if you have a pretty good Salsoda set already, then it will definitely be a fine option. In terms of the substats, you definitely want to go for speed in case you are gonna plan to farm for the new 2-piece set, but if not, then speed will definitely still be a very good substat to go for, considering you want him to make consistent turns to build up more energy and requires a lot more energy. The other substats is crit and attack to basically increase his damage overall. In terms of the main stats, I would say for Sphere, definitely physical damage, Link Rope, depending on the substats that you have from your relics, either attack percent or energy regeneration, which I prefer to go for, considering that again you want to mainly prioritize his ultimate, and for his enhanced ultimate it's double the amount of his original one, so I would definitely go for energy, and then boots definitely speed. If not, then attack is fine. Now in terms of the type of characters you would like to pair him, no doubt you would definitely want to pair him with the new support coming on his banner, Henya, because she's basically designed to increase his overall ultimate damage because it gives him speed, which allows him to get the full damage buff from the new 2-piece set, damage increase, attack increase, and also skill point recovery because considering he does want to take more consistent turns in order to build up more energy from his skill, and also there's another 2-piece set that Henya can use if you were to pair it with Argenti, because considering Henya is also physical, you can put her on the new 2-piece set Land of Dreams, where it increases her energy regeneration but increases the damage for all other allies with the same damage type as the wearer by 10%, which is very good because damage increase is the best stat to get overall. So I would definitely recommend putting Henya on that 2-piece set if you were to pair him with Argenti. Other than that, Tingwen will still be useful, Bronya will still be useful, any other tank and healer would be as good like Fushuan, Japard, and Hu. And so with all of that, I think Argenti is going to be a pretty nice character, considering that yes, it is kind of weird that they put a lot of his damage output into his enhanced ultimate, but I think there is a possibility he may struggle to build up as much energy to get his enhanced ultimate, but I think he will be fine if we were to give him the right relics and also the right supports. And that's going to be it for my pre-release of Argenti. I'm excited for his release, and let me know in the comments below if you are planning to pull for Argenti. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, then definitely subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video to support it. Check out my Twitch if you want to check out my live streams, the link will be in the description below. That's it for today, and hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.